We are sponsored by a Korean Tottenham Hotspur fan who wishes for all Koreans and the rest of the world to visit and discover Singapore.
Email Kelly for an introduction to Singapore at jrjinsingapore@gmail.com. That's jrjinsingapore@gmail.com.
What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here live from sunny Singapore. We finally made it, eh?
Yeah, unbelievable. It was a long trip, a whole day lost pretty much. People noticed we uploaded a Tottenham update at 4 in the morning. People say, what are you doing at 4 in the morning uploading an update? We're travelling, that's what we're doing. But we're here in Singapore. We're about to meet up with Singapore Spurs. Really excited to see that, and really great to be here, it really is.
Yeah, I think we uploaded that video about 10 hours before we actually released it because we did it in Doha airport, catching a connecting flight, and then we couldn't upload it in time. We had to catch a flight, and then when we finally got to Singapore, we got to upload it. But we've got another Tottenham update for you guys today, and Sim said on the update yesterday, is Hojbjerg joining the tour? What's going on? I said no, he's been pictured in Marseille, but we did get the official announcements from Tottenham and from Marseille. Tottenham tweeted out saying we have reached an agreement with Olympique Marseille for the loan of Pierre-Emile Hojbjerg for the 24-25 season, with an obligation that will see the move become permanent. Wishing you all the best, Pierre. If you believe the reports, it could go up to about £20 million or euros. I'm not sure which one, but I think it's a good deal.
I think it's fair. I mean, I am a bit disappointed with the fee. I do think he, even in the last year of his deal, a player like Hojbjerg should be worth about 20 million in this current market. But I think I probably understand that clubs know that Tottenham don't want him. Clubs know he's got a year left, so they're going to wait until the end of the window to drive the price down. If he could reach that figure of 20 million euros, I think that is a good figure as well. Reportedly, a 20% sell-on clause as well, yeah. I read. So, I mean, I don't expect a big fee. I mean, when Marseille, if and when Marseille sell him, but every little helps, and that could potentially take it to, like, let's say, well, it would have to be 20 million. It would have to be, 30 million for it to be a £5 million fee. So I don't think we're going to get 30 million for him. So you're probably going to get 1 or 2 million at max, I would say, from that deal. In terms of Hojbjerg himself, a few people surprised, I guess, that he chose Marseille of all clubs because a lot of teams are after him. But De Zerbi is creating an interesting project there. Just signed, they've signed quite a few players. I think Greenwood signed there, and
apparently Nketiah is about to go there as well.
Could be going there. I think they really want to challenge PSG right at the very top, and I think De Zerbi is probably the right manager for it. And I think it is an exciting project, so I can understand Hojbjerg being attracted to that. And look, everyone was just also surprised that De Zerbi went there, weren't they? And because he was a manager who was much sought after.
They are splashing the cash, so you got to give him credit.
So he was much sought after. So it's an interesting project at Marseille, and I think Hojbjerg has looked at that, thought, I want to see where this is going. So, look, I wish him all the best. I think he's been a really good servant, a very consistent player. He's clearly a limited player. I think we all know that. But I think the deal was probably okay for Tottenham. I don't think it's a great deal, but I think it's fine. I think it's
a good deal.
I think it's fine. I've got no problems with it.
You know, it's just ironic, isn't it, though, that Hojbjerg's best moment for Spurs came against Marseille.
Yeah, true. I saw a tweet saying, since when did people put Marseille away on the same pedestal as Amsterdam away? What's going on? Well, why is everyone talking about this great night, Marseille? It was a great night, though. I had a good time. It's only the group stage. It's easy to forget.
Yeah. All right. Well, we wish, obviously, Pierre the best. A great servant to the football club. Always gave his all and was always available for the football club as well. But let's go on and talk about changing squad numbers for this coming season. Destiny, Doggy and Vicario have changed their numbers. Vicario has gone from 13 to 1. So big up to Big Vic, and well done for that. And Destiny Udogie is taking Vicario's old number in 13, going from 38. In terms of Destiny's number, it would have been nice for him just to finally grab that 3 off Reguilon. Reguilon's not even on the tour, like, just give him the 3.
I completely agree. I mean, I guess you could argue, is it disrespectful while Reguilon's still the club to give away his number? But
is it disrespectful to not let him go on the tour?
Yeah, you could argue that. I mean, I don't know if they didn't let him, or maybe he didn't want to go. I don't know the ins and outs, but surely you just wait until Reguilon leaves and give Udogie the number 3. They didn't. I'm pretty sure when we signed Udogie and Van der Ven, they waited until the last second to give them their numbers anyway. Or Maddison, it was that he was 71 or 77 or something, and then Kane left, and then they gave him the number 10. So we got precedent for waiting for a player to leave before handing the number. I think we could have done that with Udogie. I don't know how I feel about the number 13 not being a sub keeper.
Yeah.
It makes me feel weird. I don't like that. I think 13 should have been, I don't know, Fraser Forster or Austin potentially. would have been interesting.
Those are for the football purists. The football purists would all want sub-goalkeepers number 13.
It would have been very interesting if they did give it to Austin. That would have been a really big indication. Potentially he is our number 2, but obviously they didn't. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of left-backs as number 13, but I ain't going to complain about it.
I tell you what's going to happen, though. Now Hojbjerg's gone, the number 5 is freed up. When Mickey van de Ven comes back, he's getting that number 5, isn't he?
I think so. That makes sense.
Let's talk about some transfer news now, as Paul O'Keefe said yesterday that Girona are in talks with Tottenham for Bryan Gil. There is currently no agreement on a fee, but talks are ongoing. And Fabrizio Romano backed that up as well. And he says Girona have opened talks with Tottenham for Bryan Gil, set to leave Spurs this summer. Initial discussions have taken place, as per Paul O'Keefe. So that would be a really interesting move for Bryan. I think it's a good move for him. You know, a team that were fighting at the top of La Liga last season. I think they finished 3rd in the end. Really impressive season for them, part of the City group. So I think they got money and they are going to keep improving year on year. But for him to going and replacing Savio, I mean, I'm not sure about that one.
Yeah, obviously I think Girona fans will be a bit disappointed, underwhelmed with that replacement, but he comes with a cheap fee. We know he's a player who can play well in La Liga. We've seen it before. He's a player who I think has got a lot of ability, but I just don't think he's right for the Premier League. I don't think physically he was ever going to be a right fit for the Premier League, and I think that bore out. No manager trusted him whenever he did go on the pitch. Unfortunately, he flattered to deceive a lot of the time. He looked, at some points, he did look threatening. He looked like he was going to impose himself in the game, and then a lot of the time his quality was lacking in the final third. But I don't doubt that if he does get regular game time at a good team like Girona, who are an attacking team, that maybe he can flourish, and maybe he can start to really start to find his best form, because we haven't seen that at Tottenham, unfortunately, which is a really big shame. But I wish him all the best if that is the club he goes to. It's a brilliant move for him, and looks like he's landed on his feet if he gets that Girona move. Yeah,
absolutely. Next up, we're going to talk about a potential incoming, as a publication called Area Napoli say that Tottenham remain in the background to sign Mario Hermoso. The defender is a free agent after his Atletico Madrid contract expired, and he wants to complete his next move very quickly. He was destined to join Napoli, but the move has now stalled.
Good defender. I mean, I didn't see him as a Tottenham-like defender, but I've always liked him at Atletico Madrid. So I do wonder if Tottenham are looking and thinking he's an aggressive defender. He knows what it takes to be in a backline like Atletico's for quite a few years. So it would be an interesting deal, but it wouldn't be one coming out of nowhere. But Daniel Levy thinking no transfer fee, I can understand why he's tempted.
Is he like an Ange Postecoglou defender though? Like, is he that good on the floor, or is he just like one of those out and out proper aggressive centre backs that maybe would suit more a Conte or a Jose system?
I mean, historically, Atletico have had defenders like Godin, Miranda, Jimenez, who are aggressive defenders who can play a bit, but they're not that. Their forte definitely isn't playing on the ball. I don't know where Hermoso fits in that, to be honest, and I have to do a bit more research.
Next up, Tottenham have informed Napoli that Dejan Kulusevski will cost them 45 million euros. Napoli are hoping the quoted fee will reduce in the coming weeks, and that's from Calcio Napoli. I mean, I can't see the fee reducing from that.
No, I think that'll be the bare minimum. I think we'd probably want some add-ons on top of that as well, or maybe a sell-on clause or something like that. I think 45 million for a club abroad would be the bare minimum. I wouldn't even accept it unless Decky is really certain he wants to leave. I think he could still have a big part to play in this team, and I think he's versatile, can play a few different positions to a really high level. I think we haven't I know he's been a bit inconsistent over the past couple of years, but I truly believe he's still young. He's still he just turned 24. I think he's got so much to give, so I would try and keep him if we can. But if he's desperate, if he's set on leaving and we can get a good fee like that, I mean, I'm not totally against it, as long as we replace him adequately, but I'd rather he stays.
Team Talk are reporting that Tottenham have reportedly agreed a deal to sign Federico Chiesa. I know Team Talk's not the most reliable source, but if it is true and they have got some sort of exclusive, it's something that we can all get behind. The guy has got supreme talent. Yes, he maybe hasn't shown it since his ACL injury, but he has had, Allegri's come back in, completely changed the system up, hasn't really suited him. The Italian system maybe not be the best suited to his skill set as well, but I think the Ange Postecoglou system could actually be.
Potentially. Again, I like him. I really liked him before he got his injury, and I thought he was quite an explosive talent. Hasn't been the same. I understand, listening to a few Juventus fans, I mean, they like him as a player, but they're not that bothered about losing him. They don't think it's a
weren't bothered about losing Bentancur or Kulusevski either.
That's a good point. That is a good point. So it doesn't mean just because a team, fans don't want to lose, aren't bothered about losing, but it doesn't mean it's the right decision. But I think those were different, I mean, in my opinion, different circumstances. Maybe if Chiesa can get back to his best, he could be a real asset for us, and also it could be a fairly cheap deal. You know, you're talking 25 million because of his injuries. So it could be a gamble that pays off. But I don't know. I feel like Chiesa is our big winger signing. I don't know if I'm that enthused by it. I think he's a good player, but I don't know if it would be I think it could be a good deal if he comes in as a squad player, but we need wingers who are going to be, you know, pushing the. I mean, I guess he would if he's back to his best, but I'd be much more okay with it if we're signing a winger on top of it rather than just Chiesa.
I can only see us bringing one more winger.
That's the thing. If it's just Chiesa, I don't know.
So who are you looking at apart from Chiesa, who comes in as a 10 and a winger? Who on the wing would really excite you?
There's a few names that we've been linked with. Neto would still really excite me. Doue would really excite me. I think he hasn't got that move yet. There's who else was it? I can't remember off the top of my head.
It's worth noting actually with Desiree Douye, he has been acting a bit sus on social media, liking Jed Spence's Instagram post. What's that all about?
He's coming to Spurs, that's why.
Is it done?
Look, if Jed can do a U-turn, maybe his deals to Bayern and PSG can do a U-turn. Maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But yeah, make of it what you will. Desiree Douye is interacting with some Spurs players on social media. And talking about Jed Spence as well, it's worth noting before we close off that Paul O'Keefe says that Jed is impressing a lot of the coaches at Hotspur Way at the moment. And not only is he impressing the coaches, he's impressing a lot of the fans. And a lot of the fans who have written him off are starting to come around on Jed Spence at the moment. It's going to be interesting to see how he does on the tour now. He has got on the plane, he is going to be there and he will be playing, which is some sort of turnaround because you know Reguilon's not there, Bryan Gil's not there. And if I would have said to you about a month ago, Jed Spence won't be on the tour, you would have been like, yeah, of course he's not going to go on the tour.
Yeah, 100%. And it clearly says a lot about him that he's fought his way back into the plans, he's fought his way back into Postecoglou's thinking, and just with the way he's played in his application, that's all we've asked of Jed Spence, and he seems to be proving it at the moment. And as long as he keeps performing like he has done in the friendlies, I'm all for giving him another opportunity. Look, we spent a lot of money on him. We spent a lot of money for a reason, because he's a talented player and we know what he's capable of. We saw him in the Championship, how he was giving Premier League sides a run for their money. But when along the way, not even along the way, I even think at Forest he might have had attitude problems. You saw, those posts after the season about Neil Walker, those things. He kind of, maybe he got ahead of himself. Maybe he thought he made it and thought he's now the player. He's the guy because he's signed for Tottenham. And maybe, there's reports of, he was when he was at Leeds having late nights and blaring music, whatever. I don't know if it's true, but maybe something along the way of that move, he kind of just lost that hunger that to really prove himself. And now he's got that back again. Maybe we'll see the best of him.
I really feel like these last couple of years might have humbled him a little bit, especially in the last year where interest was drying up. He went to Leeds, didn't quite cut it. He's gone to Genoa, didn't quite cut it at the beginning, and then he really knuckled down and he made that loan spell a bit successful by the end, where Genoa did want him back. They just didn't want to spend the money, and they're probably kicking themselves now. They didn't spend the money, seeing how he has flourished so far in the first 2 pre-season games. But if he can fight his way back in, full credit to the lad, and he's going to save Spurs a lot of money with Spurs needing a right back and a backup left back, and I think he can do both roles. So
if I'm Jed, you're at Tottenham, all these clubs you've been linked with, they're nowhere near the size of the club you're already at, so you've got an opportunity here, you've just got to grab it, and at the moment he seems to be. Let's hope he carries on.
All right, well there you have it. That's us. That's our Tottenham update from Singapore. More to come, but we do fly out to Japan tomorrow night, which is I'm not even going to get involved in the time zones and the time difference, but right now I think it's about 5 o'clock Singapore time, so we'll see what time you get this London time. But thank you, everyone.
What a beautiful city, right? Unbelievable. Look around here, so beautiful.
I'll tell you what, it is bloody humid, man. I'm sweating my head off just sitting here, not even doing anything. It's like the driest heat, isn't it?
Yeah, literally. You can't go a second without all of a sudden you just pouring with sweat. But it's I'm really enjoying my time here so far, and looking forward to meeting Singapore Spurs later. Absolutely. Feel blessed to be here in this part of the world. But thank you everyone for joining us today. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.